Hey, it's Joseph here. Today we are looking at DJI Ronin SC, and it is not necessarily like the architectural stuff, but I have featured a lot of photography or videography type of gears on the channel. So here I am again introducing about another photography gear. If you have been following my channel, you'll probably know that I don't really do run and gun style of video nor vlog style of video all that much. And those are type of shootings where gimbal is necessary. This is basically the stabilizer or the gimbal that you would use for smooth video shot when you're doing that sort of run and gun as I have mentioned. However, I just thought this might be useful for my setup where I am doing video inside of the studio as well. So I have purchased it and tested on my own, and I found it very useful, so I decided to share with you as well. Right now this gimbal is on, and therefore it is sort of stabilizing the camera. It is all balanced, so when I turn it just kind of smoothly follows you. So that's a basic function of a gimbal. And by the way, I have not used any other gimbals before, so I don't have any prior knowledge. However, these are the things that I found really useful on this specific gimbal and thought I would like to let you know. And if you would look, there is a joystick, and I can go up and down, and I can go sideways, and then do all sorts of different things with this. Actually, there is a trigger button right here. If I double click it, it just snaps right back to the center. So if I were to hold it like so, and then if I had moved it to one side and then double click, and then it'll snap back to the center, so it is looking straight. And also if I want to do some sort of selfie, if I triple click, it'll turn around and then face me. So this is gonna be useful whenever I'm doing sort of a selfie kind of shooting where I do vlog. The whole kit is kind of large rather, so I wouldn't be using that very much, but I found this joystick alone to be very useful for my own purpose, which is for the product shots, product photography. It's not really photography, it is more of a video of a product, so product videography. I currently own Canon M50, which is the one that I'm shooting from, and then Canon M6 Mk, which is another purchase that I recently made, but they have similar functions in terms of stabilizing the footage. They don't really have in-body stabilization or IBIS. They only have a digital stabilization, and it does a decent job, but I actually don't like the fact that it crops into your view, as well as it doesn't stabilize all that well. Whereas if you have a gimbal like this one, it can stabilize things quite well. So whenever I have some sort of product in the studio that I want to review, and I often want to show a B-roll where I do a close-up shot of the product. I have done different things in the past where I have a tripod. I can't really show you on the table all that well, but to lean forward so that I have sort of the leaning forward motion of the tripod. So I have a footage that kind of goes up close to the product, which is kind of useful, but it was quite limited. I can try to stabilize myself and then do a smooth pan, but also that has a little bit of limitation in terms of getting a smooth shot. It just kind of is a jerky, and it takes several tries to get it right, and it didn't look as good. So I figured I need to rely on actual stabilizer to actually stabilize my footage rather than me just trying manually. I have bought a slider, the video slider where you mount the camera, and then basically with the remote or your phone, you can actually do sort of the dolly forward movement as well as going sideways with it, but it was quite limited, and that was all it can do. And the price of cheap slider was on par with DJI Ronin SC. Currently on Amazon, it is on sale for $280, which was the price that I had paid for, and for that it has a lot more functionality than what I had hoped on the slider, so I decided to go down this route. And I'm sure there's a lot of videos out there who does the technical coverage of this specific gimbal. I've seen a lot, so I'm sure you can find those, but I wanted to do this video based on my kind of niche usage on this studio and product videography that I use this gimbal for. So in addition to the joystick that I I have shown you, you can actually connect to your phone on Bluetooth functionality. There are different ways to configure so that you can correctly configure the balance as well as the joints, the motor parameters. You can do it via app, but on the app, you have a virtual joystick. And once I do that, I have this joystick that's on my phone. So I don't have to touch this, and often you don't want to for that smooth pan shot that you are aiming to do. And then I can use this joystick to basically operate this. And you can control the speed, so you can do a lot slower, top and bottom, bottom to top, and then left to right and right to left kind of pan that I want to do. And if I were to actually touch the joystick, I kind of move the camera as well, so it's not as perfect. So I tend to use this wireless so that I don't mess the shot. So that's pretty much how I use this device for my own purpose. But there are a few things about this device that I found it really useful and I wanted you to know. First of all, the little tripod that I have shown, basically I mount the whole gimbal on top of this so that I can just set it on the ground rather than having a tabletop. So I can use the entire tabletop for a product videography so that I have it offset, just untwist it. And then at the bottom, there's gonna be these two threads that are available, which I can then mount it here. Well, for now, let's not do that. You can actually put all the motors to sleep by just pressing this power button once. And once I do that, it is on pause. So I can actually move this and it is not going to be stabilized as I have done it. Actually kind of does it because it's quite well balanced, but you can see that it is kind of going out of whack right now. So this is gonna be kind of wobbling around, and when you want to kind of lock it in place, it's really useful that all of these locks are available on the joints. So I can snap it here, and there's actually another lock here, and then another lock there. So it is not going to be wobbling around. And then I can just take the camera out, and once I do that, I can unlock all of these joints and then actually fold it away and then lock it back up. So it kind of folds into this smaller form factor, if you may. And then I can actually unscrew this one, as well as unlock the battery pack, which is here, and then I can slide it out. And I can even further disassemble by pulling this out, pushing this safety button, and then letting go of this. So this is kind of much smaller form factor. It just disassembles down to much smaller piece, so the transport is really easy. And whilst I was doing this, I wanted to show you this. I have a quick release plate attached to the bottom plate that was included with the DJI Ronin SC. And then basically I have this Arca Swiss quick release plate that I have featured on my video. So I'll leave a link in the description, but basically I can just quickly mount onto this plate like so. It is rock solid, and then I can just basically slide this onto here so that I can fix it onto the balanced spot. And there's a little screw piece here for you to be able to push all the way, and then I know that's the position where this whole camera is balanced to, and then I can just lock it in position. That way next time I undo all the joints, it comes back to the position and I know that is the balanced spot. The balancing is quite annoying thing about gimbals, so you want to make sure you can come back to the balanced point of all the joints very quickly. So there you go, it's already balanced. I can just kind of lock it in that position back again as I wish. Maybe I do this one, screw this on so that I can just safely rest it on the table. So it is ready to shoot now. So the whole disassemble and reassemble is really easy thanks to the quick release plate that I have implemented and all the joint locking system that Ronin has implemented onto the gimbal. And by the way, when you are actually balancing it, using these joint locks are really helpful in terms of fixing one specific axis of the gimbal. And one more thing I really liked about this gimbal is the fact that it comes with the carrying case. I think this is going to be a little bit big to carry around because this is supposed to be really compact gimbal, and the case is not as compact. I think I can pack all of this down into smaller bags, so I probably wouldn't be carrying this carrying case, but it is a very nice place to keep all the things. So inside here, all the gimbal pieces were laid out, and then I've got charging cable. Here is the little dongle that goes from USB-C to micro USB, and then lens support. So there are different pieces that are available in here, including the phone mount. So there is an interesting feature that you can do with the phone mount is the fact that you can have the phone mount on the camera when you are using the DJI app with this gimbal. You can actually have the gimbal track you as you move around. So it is basically kind of like a surveillance camera that is turning around and focusing on you. But for my purpose, that wasn't really necessary. I could if I wanted to, and maybe that's another niche case scenario that you are going to utilize this gimbal for. Can actually have this right there, and then as I move around, the camera is going to follow me. But I don't really do talking head and do that much of a movement in my studio setup, so that wasn't really necessary, and balancing it is a little bit more difficult because you've got to have the phone all the time, and then once you take it off, then you have to rebalance it. So it wasn't as practical for me. It was a little bit of cool gimmick. So basically what you see over here were included in the box minus the camera and the quick release plate, but you'll be ready to go with whatever the shoot that you are planning on. However, there are different things that you can attach to the whole set. And thanks to Smallrig, I have a small box full of accessories that I can use with DJI Ronin SC. They have sent me all of these accessories for me to try out and showcase to you. So first, this is the biggest piece, and it's comprised with 3 different parts that you need to purchase. So this is the clamp that works with DJI Ronin SC, as well as this rail that is over here, and then the handle. And I'll leave links in the description for all of these parts that I have showcased on this video. So all you need to do is basically open this clamp and then basically line it up over here, and then tighten it down so that it doesn't move, and then that becomes additional sort of handle or support for your whole kit. And because the whole thing is quite heavy, sometimes having this feet at the bottom gives you additional supports, but also now you have this additional handle. You can kind of keep it a lot closer to your body, so you have much better stabilization when you're operating the gimbal. And I really like the fact that this one has adjustable angle. So if I were to do a lower angle shot, I can do it like this, so that I basically hold the camera down low and then stabilize it this way. And here are other boxes that I have inside of this one. Some of them are kind of empty, but let's open up this one. What was this one? This one says Smallrig Archetype Quick Release Clamp for DJI Ronin. So this one is basically what you can replace my quick plate with, and then you can have different Arca Swiss plates under your camera so you can mount it quickly. I just prefer this system that I already had, so that is what I am using. However, that is definitely available from Smallrig. Another small box, NATO Rail for DJI Ronin SC. So here is a little NATO Rail that you can actually have, and this one attached to, so you can basically remove this little plate here and then replace with this NATO Rail. Make sure it is secure, and then you can actually mount this handle. So I can actually hold it like this if I wish to, but I kind of prefer more of a vertical holding, so I wouldn't really do that. And because in addition to the NATO Rail, this one has it also has a 1/4-20 mount, so you can actually mount different things such as a light. And also this is another piece that I got from Smallrig. So if you need a light with the whole kit, that you are able to mount the light on its side. But this was actually the little clamp that you can get. Multifunctional crab-shaped clamp with ball head magic arm. And then basically turn it on and then mount onto your gimbal. So here is the NATO Rail on top of the clamp, and it has a little secure nip here so that you can push in and then slide, and then it's not going to slide out. It's a nice security feature. And then I can just turn this knob and then loosen this to angle it different. And one last little box here, what they called it, mounting plate for DJI Ronin S or Ronin SC. There's a lot of mounting plates, but this specific one looks like that. The bottom of DJI Ronin SC looks like, so that lines up perfectly with this one, with the Allen wrench that is included. Now you have many more options for mounting methods for 1/4 inch and a 3/8. There are multiple points that are available, as well as one on the side. So there's a 3/8 on this side. I can simply just thread the tripod on here using the 3/8 instead of the 1/4 inch. Now that is just starting to look a bit ridiculous, but just proof of concept. Anyways, now I can mount this plate back like so, lock it in position, and it is now ready for this camera. So now the whole kit is complete. I can turn on the light, a handheld shooting, and if I really wanted to, I can use this quick release plate between the DJI Ronin and the tripod so I can quickly unmount this and get going. But I wanted to show you how elaborate you can be in terms of your setup. So if I go ahead and turn on DJI, as well as making sure all the joints are unlocked, and I can just use a joystick to move up and down, as well as going sideways. So hopefully that was a good demonstration of how ridiculous you can take the whole setup to and how it fits my own workflow. And if you have found it useful, please like and subscribe to my channel if you want to continue watching these type of videos. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you next time. Bye.